Chapter 43 to 44. 15 days later, Amon was in a desert-type town with 130 pirates in front of him. Among the crowd, a burly person with a scar on his left arm was standing a step ahead of everyone, indicating himself as their leader. SSS, look at him, a skinny pirate beside the burly man said. He was looking at Amon with a lustful look while licking his dagger. Big bro, I'm interested in him. Can we keep him alive?
Ivana taste.
Before he could finish his words, he soundlessly fell on his back with a white feather penetrating his forehead. Asterisk gulp asterisk. Along with the burly man, everyone around gulped hard as they glanced at the dead body, then the kid in front of him. He looked like a skinny and weak teenager, but the part which stood out were his white wings. They were big and beautiful, but they also had few metallic scraps on the edges. Did you do dis? The burly man asked as the kid just stayed silent. Sorry, I only chat with girls when I'm in a battle. The teen, Amon, said as his wings pointed towards the front man, seemingly preparing an attack of some sort. Exclamation point. In surprise, the burly man covered his head with his arms crossing in front. A few seconds passed as Amon kept smiling without a care, while the burly man still kept his guard up to defend against his attack. A few minutes passed as Amon didn't move from his place. The civilians of the area were also peeking at the fight, but they also couldn't guess why the bounty hunter wasn't attacking the pirates. Ah! The burly man suddenly screamed. He must be stalking for time. Suddenly realizing something important, the burly man shouted and rushed towards Amon. Everyone, attack him at once. He is strong and shrewd. Whip. Some of the pirates attacked Amon with a whip, while some swords, some spears, and the main boss. The burly man used a club similar to Kaido and launched towards him. Bam! He swung his club as he hit the ground. His attack passed through Amon as if he was a "Don't tell me, you're a Logia user?" Burly jumped back in alarm, but more surprising things started to happen. Ha ha ha, dumbass. The next moment, the enemy, Amon, multiplied in a short, tall, fat, muscular, female, and distorted version of him surrounded the place. What? Burly complained in surprise, as his eyes squinted around to understand the situation. Is this Logia fruit or paramecia? What's happening? Ha 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 ha. Burly heard the laughter of someone from above. He got angry seeing someone laughing at his confusion, as he abruptly looked up. How dare! It was a flying Amon. What the fuck? Mirage tempo. Amon looked down as his clones, or rather, his illusionary clones multiplied. Oh, also, as Amon opened his mouth, Burly realized his crew of 130 was surrounded by yellow transparent flying balls. Thunder tempo. Snap. NN no. ZZZZZT. With a snap of his fingers, the whole crew was rendered unconscious with their eyes turning hollow. A few hours passed as Amon was sitting in a chair around the same place, with a food plate in his hand. Who would have thought I would ever be able to eat food made by such a beautiful sister like you? Amon said as he smiled towards the woman in her 30s, as she just giggled. Well, you saved our small town just now. I'm indebted as a citizen, the woman said as she sat beside him. A few minutes passed by, as Amon sensed someone walking towards him from behind. The shadow of the figure stopped behind, as Amon looked back. Hina is glad you are not just killing pirates like before. However, it was a professional feminine voice. Hina was searching for you, and you are here flirting? It was the pink-haired Marine, Black Cage, Hina. Another few minutes passed, as Amon was standing there with a bag filled with 600 million bellies in his hand. You should have called the nearest base, not Hina. This isn't Hina's territory yet, Hina said as she had her arms crossed and a cigarette in her mouth. I only have your number, Amon lied skillfully with a wink as he checked the money. Besides, you could have notified the nearest Marine base yourself. You didn't need to come here. Hina just stayed silent at his logic. There was a problem with the Denden-Mushi connection between the two bases, Hina said. Besides, Hina just wanted to keep an eye on you. Yeah, I get it. You should just confess at this rate. Amon replied while closing the bag. Anyway, thanks for the fast service like always. He gave her a salute as Hina just rolled her eyes. It would have taken more than a day to get their bounties, but with Hina-chan helping me, Amon didn't need to wait so long. Before Hina could get him for mocking her, Amon flew off. Fa! Hina noticed his wings had small metallic scraps on their edges. Was he injured? No. That's none of Hina's business. Hina turned around to the criminals who were caged by her ability and prepared to leave. In reality, Amon has added something like an exoskeleton to his wing's edge. Obviously, it's not a permanent effect and can be removed anytime, since Amon didn't want to damage his precious wings. The exoskeleton wasn't just for defense though, as the pointy edge of 3.5 millimeters of it is made of sea stone, while the other parts are normal. Besides acting like an anti-Logia wing blade, they function similarly to Nami's weapon Climattact, with the technology added to it. Albeit it is easier to use with them, being attached to his hand-like wings. 5.5 months later, 1 year, until Amon returns. During the last year, 60% of the bounty hunts in Paradise were done by a single person, Crimson Wing, Lucifer. It was mostly because of his flight ability, as he doesn't need to wait for a boat like other bounty hunters, and was able to capture pirates even before others reached that place. Besides that, Amon received more clients than the average hunter. The clients are the ones who hire bounty hunters for their protection from criminals, or in some cases, to specifically hunt criminals who they have a grudge against. His flirting worked here, as he got many jobs with his sweet tongue in the initial stage of his career. He even lost his virginity to a busty one-san. However, his past hard-working days were over, as these days people plead him to take jobs. He was this generation's best bounty hunter after all. Obviously, by monopolizing over the hunts, Amon made many enemies, criminals/pirates and bounty hunters alike. While he made most of them vanish, the smart ones joined him. Though some died accidentally because of being too smart by trying to plan on his back. Ignoring those useless conflicts, Amon decided to create an organization/guild. Initially, it will just be for bounty huntings, though Amon has plans to change that fact later on. Currently, he's working on creating it. The Marines also don't intervene in this. Rather, they, or more specifically, the world government values famous bounty hunters just next to the Shichibukai, though they don't declare it officially. For this reason, the Marines act very generously towards Amon, and also keep an eye out for him, since he can potentially turn into a pirate. For that reason, they also station many spies throughout Whiskey Peak, who are working undercover. Obviously, Amon is aware of them all, though he doesn't mind them. After all, right now, he isn't doing anything illegal. At least not yet. Creating an organization/guild isn't illegal. In fact, it's highly encouraged by Marines, as it will boost the chance of a victory for bounty hunters against criminals. There has also been a special guest lurking around the Whiskey Peak for a while. Asterisk. Amon was sitting in a room on the first floor of the mayor's mansion, while people were coming and going, as if this was some sort of an interview room. "Congrats, you are hired," Amon said as he shook hands with a burly man in front of him who smiled and accepted his hands. "Thank you very much." Soon, as the man left, Amon fell on his seat. "Sigh, so boring and monotonous," Amon said as he closed his eyes and rested in his chair. For the last 2 months, he was hiring bounty hunters for his guild named Wingless Valkyries. Learning that the famous Lucifer is creating a guild, many hunters across the world were naturally interested in joining, so they came here to Whiskey Peak. Though many of them returned without joining, as generally when joining a guild, one doesn't need any background check. But Amon does that, to take some precautions, and makes them fill forms with a very small amount of information, which doesn't hurt their pride or sense of security. Though this was a big problem, as bounty hunters won't usually fill these types of forms. However, most of them did it only for this once, since the forms weren't that intrusive, also since after filling the form, their leader would be Lucifer. According to the form, besides the personal information part, they would have to pay 30% of their hunts, as the provider of those hunts is the guild's master, Amon himself. Many didn't agree, obviously, but as time passed, they were kind of forced to do so, since no new job came to them other than generic hunts. So, as time passed, Amon's guild now consisted of 10,000 members, causing his profit to skyrocket. He now held on to 16 billion belly. To compare, Amon can be said to be a guild master of some sort from medieval fantasy worlds. Not only that, he also had a contract with the Marines about providing them pirate heads now and then, so the Marines also stayed out of his way, or at least they did a yed like that openly. In this job, there were cases of cheating, obviously. However, they were punished thoroughly and set as an example for the others. As for, in front of Amon's observation hockey, no one could get out after lying. A few minutes passed, and Amon was still on his chair while he was drinking mango juice using a straw. He had a bounty poster on his head, the bounty of a black-haired little girl with bright blue eyes, the bounty being 79 million belly. Amon sensed someone coming towards the room, as he burned the paper with a dial, and it burned instantly, not even leaving ashes. Soon the door opened, creak, as a tall and beautiful woman wearing a black jacket and a hat entered the room. Amon looked at the woman. The interview has ended already, but a reassuring smile bloomed on his face. "I can make an exception for a beautiful miss such as you." The woman released a smile hearing him as she bowed while raising her hand with the hat on her chest. "It's Miss All Sunday. Nice to meet you." Black hair and blue eyes with a blue ring in her pupils. One of the few people of this world who can read the ancient language, but most importantly the language of the Pongilf. The same person whose bounty Amon just burned, the demon child, Nico Robin. Amon was fully aware of who she was, and why she was here, as she was the special guest who had been lurking around this place. He stood up and shook her hand with a smile on his face. "Now, the question is, do I kill her right here and now?" he asked himself in his mind. A few minutes ago, Nitsorobin POV. I'm currently walking through Whiskey P. Suddenly, I feel a pull in my arm. While controlling my fright, I slowly looked back. Hick, hey, beauty, wanna have some fun? Luckily, it's just a drunk bounty hunter. Foo foo foo. No, thanks. I'm fine. Fleur, clutch. Crack. I rejected the drunk-looking guy by cracking his neck and slowly started to walk out of that place. I was walking through Whiskey Peak, around the mayor's house, while making it seem like I'm just touring the island. People don't really question my behavior, as I'm pretty good at hiding and infiltrations like these. The Grand Line is dangerous. I came here 2 months ago to lay low for a while, and I have finally decided to join a faction. A few months ago, I was a part of a criminal organization in West Blue, and kept laying low until they were captured by Marines. After that, I started to ponder on which place I should go to next. And here I am, in the dangerous Grand Line at Whiskey Peak. It's been 2 months since I've been here, and for the last months, I have been keeping an eye on the guild that the guy named Lucifer is creating. Lucifer is most likely a code name, like me as I call myself, Miss All Sunday. I don't think this guild/organization has started to do any criminal act yet, though it's inevitable to happen in the near future. After all, the leader is a 15-year-old teenager. He will fall for greed soon. Until then, I will be with them and keep laying low. Grand Line is dangerous. I will return to West Blue again after I gather some information. Until then, I will leech the group off like I always do. I'm cursed that any group I join will get destroyed. I don't mind that happening to a group of criminals. Thinking such, I slowly start to walk towards the mayor's building, which he must have obtained after killing the previous mayor. Asterisk. Present time. Amon POV. Please sit down. After greeting Nico Robin, she sat down in the seat opposite to me. I just kept smiling towards her, while contemplating what I should do to her. Nico Robin. Her arrival was unexpected, but she's been here for a while now. I found out she's been lurking around Whiskey Peak for 2 months or so, just around the time I started creating my guild. People won't recognize her, as her bounty poster is from her childhood, and she's now 19 years old, with a mature body. If I recall correctly, she should have only entered Grand Line in the year 1518. Currently, it's 1513, so 5 years early. However, it's necessarily not for the butterfly effect, which caused her early arrival. I mean, if I think it from her perspective, someone as cautious as her must have come to Grand Line before the year 1518, even in the canon timeline. But when seeing the dangers here, she must have returned back, before finally entering the Grand Line in 1518 for real. Anyhow, that's not the concern here. Rather, the concern is, what should I do to her now? If I have to guess, she's just here to observe things. I can probably keep her here if I try a little, which I would, but she's still dangerous. If she leaves my guild and decides to join some other faction, it will be my life loss, so should I kill her now? Or make her into a Mani? Oh, it's already been 7 seconds. Ignoring the thoughts for a second, I look at her with a smile. It's better to keep her occupied with a conversation. So, is MS All Sunday your real name, or a code name of some sort? Regardless, it's a very pretty name if I must say so myself. She giggled hearing me as I did the same. My, I wonder, Robin said as she leaned forward, placing her hands on the table. Maybe it is a fake one, but I presume I don't need to reveal my real name. After all, bounty hunters are free to do what they want. Or is it a different case for Mr. Lucifer? I just chuckle at her tone. So she already has the information that my name is a title given by the people? Well, her information gathering is a thing I'm looking forward to. Going with her humor, I open my mouth. Of course not. You can even name yourself Devil Beauty, Demon Girl, or Demon Child, hahaha. I don't mind. Robin's face seemingly froze for a second, but she soon smiled again. That's just a coincidence. He said Demon Child, not Devil Child. No, it doesn't matter. I should prepare things beforehand. I don't want to take any risk. That's what she thought, and yes, I guess what she thought. It's easy to guess with her personality and the emotions she's currently experiencing and I'm sensing. I dare say my observation hockey is the best in the world, even if I can't see the future. Okay, it's decided. I won't kill her. She is too easy. Her emotions are also predictable, and she is very insecure about her identity. With her fucked up past, even a clown would be able to manipulate her knowing her every thought and mental state like I'm doing. Haha. Ignore my bad sense of humor, by the way. I scratched my back as she calmed down a little. Then I picked up one of the forms on the table. You just have to fill this form to join. I handed her the form as she slowly nodded. I kept smiling at her, while she started to inspect the form intensely. I guess she won't die, at least not yet. Well, it's not that I would have killed her, to begin with, or I would have done that the first day I found her peeking at my back. In the end, her main power, the knowledge to read Pongilf, is a must to me. Yes, I do have the AI beside me, who said she possesses all the information on the Void Century. But I can grant a 110% guarantee that she lied. It's pretty easy to see through, as she said things like, how she didn't want to see the Shandians suffer. If so, then why not reveal them to me already? It's obvious, even a child would, maybe not, but I can easily see through her lies. Yet, I had to act as she wanted me to, giving her the false sense of control over me. Anyway, I will get to know the truth soon enough. She should be scared of getting a short circuit, shouldn't she? Nonetheless, when I made plans in my childhood, I never considered finding an AI laying underground anyway. She's just a bonus who will have her own use. For now, I will just assume the AI doesn't exist and broaden my other ways of power by taking the opportunity in front of me of Nico Robin, the key to Pongipple. I don't necessarily care about the history, but I do care about the ancient weapons and the One Piece. It could possibly be a strong weapon too. Maybe a dimensional traveling machine, then I can know. Let's not mess up the goals here. I quickly shook my head to shoo away these useless thoughts and focus on the woman in front of me. Asterisk. General POV. Soon, Robin filled the form and looked at Amon with a smile as bright as his own. I'm surprised how much your guild has grown even with these types of restrictions, Robin said as she slid the form towards Amon. But I guess it's not that surprising, as I myself accepted that. Robin said and released her iconic, foo foo foo. Amon also smiled at her. Are you trying to entice me with that beautiful laugh? Robin still just giggled. To her, Amon was just a kid who was lucky to be born strong. If he feels attracted to her, she can use him properly and easily. Amon tilted his head with his smile. For now, since I have already decided to keep her for me, I need to decide how I will proceed with things. Amon thought. Romance route? Little brother route? Or a comrade route like Canon? Or sex maniac route? Hard to decide. The easiest way would be to break her mind. Emotionally, I mean. Amon thought as he pressed a buzzer on the table. BRRZZZ BRZZZ. As it ringed, soon a random bounty hunter came through the door creak. Yes, boss. Amin nodded towards him. Bring some ice cream. Ma, chocolate for me. Amon slipped his tongue and looked at Robin. And miss? I'm fine. Robin just nodded gracefully. Please enjoy yourself, she said. I can't trust anything here. Surely not. Amon refuted. You are an employee under me. I have to take care of you, Amon said while looking at Robin's blue eyes as Robin sighed. He really is a teenager. At least he isn't looking at me with the eyes other people do. Or is he faking it? She thought as she smiled. All right, then strawberry for me. A few minutes passed. The ice cream arrived as Amon kept talking with Robin. Talking a little too much, while she just nodded and replied now and then. This whole time, Amon was just staring at her eyes as it became creepy. Though Robin didn't mind much as it was better than being staring at her bosom and back as some other people do. Anyway, you will start from the mid-rank since you have a devil fruit, Amon said as he read the form. If someone writes he has devil fruit, he demands demonstration to not mess up like last time. Please, demonstrate your graceful power to me, Amon said as he rested his chin in his left hand with his eyes looking like a kid deep in love. Robin nodded and crossed her arms as she created an X position. Fleur. 6 more hands came out of her body, elbow, waist, and created a circle. She looked like a seductive witch with her soft smile. Is that enough? She asked while looking at the mouth agape Amon. Hello. Oh. Sorry about that. Amon nodded with a blush on his face and while creepy looking at her eyes. T then cough. He coughed away his nervousness. Then to celebrate the start of our work together. How about I buy you dinner? Amon asked as he got up from his seat, walking towards her. I won't take a no, by the way, he said as he walked towards her with a feather rose. Consider it a rule only applied to you. Robin hesitantly accepted the rose with a nod. Amon then clasped his hands behind and leaned forward. He had to look upward for him to meet her eyes, because of his short height. If I had a big sister, she would have looked just like you, I presume, Amon said as smiled at her sweetly. By the way, tell your owner that I said you don't need to pay for the room. Saying this, he walked away from the room as Robin just smiled. He wants to form a brother-sister relationship with me? That's sweet. However, I would be a stupid to believe someone like that existing in Grand Line. She thought, I will go with the flow and take everything I want from him. Amon was walking to a hotel, humming lightly. Soon may the Mittenman come. How about number 4? The Playboy little bro route. Amon thought with a smirk. I would have used the romance way, but there are inconveniences at that route. However, on route number 4, she might start having romantic feelings towards me as well. That way, it would only be a plus for me. Amon was trained from his previous life to not feel romantically attached towards others. He trained himself to control that type of emotion. They were useless in that life, even more so in this life. Yet, that type of past experience along with his new flirtatious personality can be a deadly combination against a person like Nico Robin, who already forgot the emotion called love or care. Amon won't do something like declaring war on the world government for her, even though it would earn him her instant trust. That would just be stupid, since he has all RHE time of his life to manipulate her as a little brother. In this time frame of 1513, seducing her won't be hard at all. She is currently emotionally imbalanced, after all. Against her, Amon won't use the normal cliché "you're important to me" card. Rather, he will use the hard-to-use "I'm important to you" card. In love, even the purest being can become corrupted, and the corrupted being as pure as a cherry blossom. Or at least in this world of fiction, it does. Doesn't matter what type of love it is. Mittenmen come.